I've got kind of a scattered mess today. This is a car that has not been seen on the channel yet. I've actually had this for quite some time, but really just trying to work through everything else I've got that I know will work. This is a Cox, like Estes Cox, 049 powered, yes, that Cox 049, Nissan GTP. That's literally what it's called. Cox 049 GTP. That's the name of it. This chassis was also made as an F1 car, and I think a stock car, but it's old. This is early 90s tech, single servo on the front here. It's basically a pan car. Got your brake cable and your brake, or your throttle itself, which is built in here. That's where your brake attaches, but you'll notice it's in several pieces because I've already got it all taken apart. This is the engine. It's so small. There's your exhaust, fuel intakes down there at the bottom. But what I'm doing right now is a little bit of work. So this engine's kind of unique. It has this clutch system that sits on top of it, but you'll notice there's no pull start on the back because that's where the fuel comes in. Because it's an airplane engine, there'd usually be a tank on the back end of the engine mount. So this used a ripcord start, which was a plastic toothed cord cable that came through here. You'd grab it and you'd pull it, and it had teeth on it that would engage some gears. And let's jet on over here to the computer. So here we are in SketchUp. This is the, I guess, the 2D view of the gear. Hold on, let me find the gear here. Yes, okay, very rare, very impossible to find gear for a very rare, very impossible to find RC car that I misplaced, because of course I did. Anyways, this is the flywheel, and your starter gear would go here, and the ripcord would engage that, and then on here is where your clutch would go. And there's another small gear that engages the transmission. Anyways, I'll put it all back together and we'll hopefully get it running. Maybe we'll get it running by the end of this video, but most of this is about making a pull start for this. A pull start in the loose sense, so. Alright guys, here we are with the Cox 049 GTP Nissan car. Replaced as many of the old tubes as I could, which luckily was all of them. Looks a lot better now. That's pretty tight. I still actually have to slap this guy on here. And the intake is actually up through the bottom, which is a really bizarre design. Which goes something like that. Cut it. Remember, you can always cut it shorter. Boom. Sorry for that weird cut. I had a customer come in. Just put this bottom intake line, goes from the bottom of the tank around and up into the bottom of the engine there. What's really weird about this car, this setup, is the engine and the throttle, because the throttle isn't in the carburetor. It's a very strange setup. As far as I can tell, we got feed from the bottom of the tank into the bottom of the engine. It runs, of course. Typical 049s just exhaust out of the top of the cylinder head, but this one actually has a collector ring that goes around it, and pipes the exhaust in. So then the exhaust comes into here. Now, this is where it gets weird. This valve, the throttle, slides and opens and closes more pressure to come into this guy, which is open on the top. And I don't quite understand how, maybe it's purely on back pressure, that if you restrict the back pressure through this smaller piece, that it somehow runs worse and slows itself down. Then you push it all the way here, the throttle moves back forward, and that would be full speed and send all of the exhaust out the side. It's a very strange setup, but to be fair, it's an airplane engine, so that's kind of to be expected. Oh, hey, just to interrupt, wanted to show I found a manual. So the throttle body here, and this is the intake. There's supposed to be foam in the top. It's an air cleaner. It slides up and down to prime, and actually they call it a Maples EGR throttle. So exhaust gas recirculation throttle. That's what it does. Slowing it down, sends more exhaust gas into the intake and chokes the engine. That's how it works. Got it. I really hope I don't have to replace these servos. They look like they're about the same size as the weird ones I had to use in my OFNA CRT.5. But there it is, at least. I don't really have the part ready yet. I've got it designed though, and just to show you, this is what I was talking about earlier. So the pull start goes right here through that little square hole. That's the flywheel. That's the clutch. In there, under the clutch bell, is the clutch shoes. Then we got the pinion gear to the spur gear. Open differential. You can actually see the differential working, which is pretty cool. And out to the wheels. So yeah, I mean, it's in one piece. This is, what is this, 1991? Question mark? Car. And kind of an introduction, I figured I'd make a video as I was halfway doing this. But we're going to 3D print that starter cord. And also, one of the other reasons I wasn't able to start it yet was, this is pretty important, the fuel. So what I use is usually VP Power or Sidewinder here. And this, you can see on the tag, is 20% nitro, which is fine, 12% oil, which is not fine. That's an airplane engine. The Cox 049 runs best on 20% oil. So if this was VP, it'd be 14% oil. Either way, I've got to add oil. So this is castor oil. I bought it on Amazon. It's what is this? A pint. You can just add this, if you do the math, to already, oilified race fuel, and bring the oil level up to what the engine needs so it doesn't fry itself. And turning this engine over, by the way, fantastic compression. I'm super stoked. I've also got a really funny ignition system for it. And I guess really it's technically more of an adapter. Any of the old school guys out there for like Glow Free Flight will recognize this clip. That's the head clip for an 049. So you'll notice the top of the engine isn't really a normal glow plug, it's a special one. The top of the engine head, actually, the whole thing unscrews. This is just a clamp-on heatsink for the cars. So this rests on the bottom plate, and then you push down and wedge that little fork under the nipple. Now what I've got, instead of a big 1/2 volt battery, is standard glow plug adapter. So then you take your normal glow plug lighter, plug that on in. That's it. Glow plug is being heated, and wow, I can already feel it. It's already getting pretty toasty there. So that works great. I just had to keep the wire pretty short so that the resistance didn't cut down on the voltage. But yeah, that's about it. This was kind of a impromptu video. I was going to lump it in with the making of the pull start, but I realized that might be a video in and of itself on how complex it will be. I'm also going to try my best to either repaint this body or have another one made. My boss here, he can do vacuum forming, so if I make a mold of this, I can get a new one. You can see the fender wells aren't cut out so great. On the other side, there's a pretty nasty crack. There's some more really shoddy cutting of the fender wells, and it's brush painted on the outside. So if you look through it on the inside, you can see all that brushing. It's bad. But anyways, this has been a really weird look at a really old, hard to find car. It is 12th scale, so it fits in here at the channel. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I've got a lot more stuff like this. I've got my Offness CRT 0.5 just about ready to be driven around the track. I'm breaking in right now, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next one.